Sam just let me know that it tastes terrible. I've never been brave enough to try it. So I suppose this short homily, short, emphasis short, really could be called winter holiday trivia. Because when I was researching the carols and their history, I stumbled upon all sorts of fascinating information, if one can believe in the veracity of articles and references on the internet. Did you know that the first eggnog was made and consumed in the Jamestown settlement in 1607? Those Puritans and Pilgrims? Or that Christmas was not declared a holiday in this country until June 26th, 1870. I remember Unitarian Universalism was only created in this country about 40 to 50 years earlier. Did you know that the poem about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was written to lure customers into Montgomery Ward? Did you know that the image so many of us have of Santa is the product of Coca-Cola advertising campaign from 1931? Or that the exchange of Christmas gifts has its roots in begging at this time of year? The word carol, as I said earlier, actually means dance or a song of praise and joy. And carols were originally sung for festivals that were all around the year. Folk would dance in a ring around a harpist and improvise songs and verses on the spot. Remember those fa-la-las? Very handy. These carols were not necessarily religious in nature, and they certainly originally were not Christian. Now, however, the only ones that survive are the ones related to Christmas. After Christianity had succeeded in establishing itself as the dominant religion by the Middle Ages, it began to introduce Christian-themed songs to replace the pagan ones. But remember, these church songs were in Latin, which the people could not understand. And they weren't festive by any stretch of the information, but somber and staid. The people quickly lost interest in Christmas. And as I said earlier, in many ways, we owe the survival of Christmas to St. Francis of Assisi. In 1223, he's the one who started the living creche. And he would use real animals, as I said, and songs that were in the vernacular. So folks would go to church and sing the Christmas songs and then go out carousing, drinking, and singing carols. Amen. Now you know what to do after the late service. These songs were taken and spread all over Europe by traveling musicians. And many of the carols or songs we now sing at this time of year were written for other festivals before the content was intentionally changed to reflect Jesus' birth narrative. In 1647, the celebration of Christmas and caroling was abolished in America. A tract written at the time by Hezekiah Woodward dismissed Christmas entirely as, and I quote, "the old heathens' feasting day, in honor to Saturn, their idol god, the papist massing day, and my favorite, the profound man's ranting day, the superstitious man's idle day, the multitude's idle day, Satan's working day, the true Christian man's fasting day." So the carols went underground. And they weren't sung in churches, but in homes and on the streets. It would take 200 years for Christmas to recover. The carols that we know today arose in the 13th century as songs accompanied by dances. Today, a carol is simply known as a song that celebrates the Christmas season. And most of the carols that we're singing today were written between 1400 and 1647. At least the tunes were written. In the 1800s, folk songs began to be collected both here and in England, which allowed the old carols to be preserved. And I take great delight in telling folks that these beloved carols sung during Advent and Christmas, the second most important Christian holiday after Easter, were originally debaucherous drinking songs. It puts the carols in their context and place. For centuries, we have been singing sanitized and Christianized versions of what must have been rated beyond our lyrics. Because of sentimentality, this is the one time of year that you are not busy reading ahead to see if they agree with the words or not. Instead, we give ourselves over to the pleasure of simply singing these ancient tunes. So, my friends, carol on.